I'm Dani, cultural and heritage photographer and consultant. I'm here today to give you an overview of what is possible to achieve in terms of good quality museum photography with a very basic photographic equipment. Let's talk about the difference between shooting with a mobile phone and a digital SLR. The most basic setup you can have is a table with some tie-back against a white wall. I'm going to shoot here just using the ambient lighting. First, I'll shoot using my mobile phone, which, like every other mobile phone, has a very wide angle lens. And that makes the object I'm photographing look quite small. But if I get any closer, I will add a lot of distortion, as this is a wide angle lens. So I zoom in, and as you can see, it's quite hard to keep my arms stable. And now we have the image taken with the mobile phone. Because I have to use the digital zoom of the mobile phone, the zoom is a digital one, not a lens-based zoom. There is a lot of distortion. If we shoot with a DSLR, there is a big difference. You can see that the boat is much more in focus, no distortion. By shooting with a DSLR, I already have improved the previous shot. I still have a very basic setup, basic tie-back using ambient light. So let's talk about the advantages of using a DSLR. We just saw the difference, but let's go through in detail. The first big difference is that with a DSLR, you can change the lens. So you have your camera and you buy separate lenses. Most standard DSLRs come with a zoom lens. In this case, 1855 zoom lens that comes with the Canon 400D. This camera is quite old, it's about 10 years old. It costs about £70. The lens around 50, but it is still a reliable camera for very basic museum photography. The kit I recommend is not only the DSLR because it has manual mode, but also to have a tripod. To have a tripod is an essential part of your equipment. It will allow you to have more control over your photography and have a faster workflow. This is a very basic setup, the camera on a tripod and the object on white background. Here I'm using the DSLR and the zoom lens at 18mm. As the 18 is a wide angle, you can notice that you can see the borders of the white paper. Here I zoom in to use the 55mm, also called a normal lens. And as you can see, in the borders of the paper are not in frame anymore. The only thing we see now is the boat on the white background. Let's compare again the image taken with the mobile phone and the image shot with the DSLR. The images speak for themselves. The image with the DSLR has no distortion and there is no blurry areas. The two previous images were taken on the tie-back, but you can improve further by using white paper. A DSLR also gives you advanced controls. One of the most important features is that most DSLRs give you access to shoot in RAW, which is the best quality available for any digital camera. However, RAW requires you to open the files on a specialized software, either Photoshop or the software that comes with the camera. To make things easier, I would recommend shooting RAW plus large, which means that for every image that you shoot, you're going to end up with two files, a RAW file plus a JPEG. If you can and have access to open the raw files, brilliant. If you don't, you already have a JPEG file that any computer will be able to manage. JPEGs are files that are compressed, so you do lose a little bit of quality when compared to a raw file. Another feature of advanced controls is using the picture style as neutral. All cameras, including your mobile phone and this camera, when set up on auto, will saturate the colors of your object and enhance the contrast, therefore not actually showing you the true colors of your object. Another particular feature of DSLRs is to be able to format your card. Not many people use this feature, but I would recommend as part of your workflow. Every time you finish a batch of images and you upload those images to your computer, and those images are backed up, and you put the card back on the camera, you should be able to format your card. Using this method, you will never run out of space on your card. As this is just an introduction to taking better pictures with the equipment that you have, I would recommend that you use automatic white balance on your camera. This is a chart explaining what the symbols you see on the camera mean. As I mentioned, for now I'd recommend using auto balance. A DSLR also gives you access to the histogram. On this particular camera model, we can see two pieces of information. We can check the exposure of our images, which I cover on another video, and the color balance. The images have different exposures. That's why the graph is moving. But for now, what is important to see is that the curves in red, blue, and green are all parallel to each other, which means the images have a neutral color balance, something every museum photography should be aiming at. Use this feature to double-check that the colors of your photographs are as close as possible to the colors of the object you are photographing. Not every camera is going to show you the information in the same way. You have to read the manual to find out. But most DSLRs should have advanced features that enables you to double-check your exposure and your color balance. To end this video, I'll leave you with some tips. Shoot with a DSLR. Read your camera manual and get to know your camera. Buy a tripod, but it's strong enough to hold your DSLR and lens. When using a zoom lens, avoid using anything below 55 mm, so you avoid optical distortion. Shoot in RAW plus large, which means RAW plus JPEG. Start your shooting day with a clean flash card.